You're watching the chapter number 18 of the Blender Materials Textures and Nodes course, Wave Texture in Blender. In today's chapter, we'll be understanding about the Wave Texture node, and then we'll even use it in the retro gaming arcade scene that we are creating in this course. And for those of you who are new to this course, do watch the previous 17 chapters by using the link of the playlist given in the pinned comment. So to begin with, I've opened this materials file where in the last chapter, we used the displacement node along with the magic texture to create this amazing material. And in this chapter, we'll be exploring the Wave Texture node. So to see how it works, I'll select the UV sphere, then go to the material properties, and let's now create a new material. So click on the plus icon, then click on the new button, and to apply this material to the UV sphere, press tab to enter the edit mode, and with all the vertices selected, click on the assign button, and then return back to the object mode. Then go to the shader editor, press shift plus A, then go to texture, and select the wave texture. Let's place it over here, then left click, and now if I connect the color socket to the base color, then as you can see, the wave texture node added these procedural bands on the object's material. In fact, we can even change the wave type from bands to rings, and this will give us this texture with the procedural rings instead of the bands. So you can choose any of the two, either the bands or the wings, for the object's material. Then in this node, you also have the option to control other things like the scale value that will change the scaling of the texture. Then you have the distortion value, and if I increase it, then this will control the amount of distortion of these waves. Then you have the detail, and if I increase it, then this will increase the amount of the distortion noise detail. Then you have the option to control the detail scaling that will control the scaling of the distortion noise. So if I zoom in right now, you can see that the distortion effect is hardly visible because of increasing the detail scaling, which in turn increase the distortion noise. So let's reduce it for now somewhere around 1 or 2, and we again have the distortion effect visible on this texture. After this, by using the detail roughness, you can control the blending. Like if I change it to 0, you will get a smoother noise pattern, and if I increase it to the maximum, which is equal to 1, you will get a rough pattern. So by using these different parameters, you can change the way how the wave texture will look on the material. For example, you can control the detailing, the amount of distortion which is added to the texture. If you take it to a very high number, then the material will look something like this because of a lot of distortion in the wave texture. But for now, let's reduce this value to somewhere around 3 or 4, where we can see the band-like pattern properly on the material. So I've kept the distortion value to 2. Then you can even control the scale value in order to fix the overall scaling of the texture. But even after all this, the texture looks kind of very simple, and if you want, we can give it a highly detailed and realistic appearance with the help of the displacement node. We studied about the displacement node in the last chapter of this course, where we used it along with the magic texture and the noise texture node. And today, let's use the same node along with the wave texture. So press shift plus A, then go to vector and select displacement. We'll place it over here, take the displacement socket and connect it to the displacement in the material output. Then for texture, we'll take the color socket in the wave texture and connect it to the height of the displacement node. And by doing this thing, you will notice that we are having a 3D looking highly detailed texture, which is because of the displacement node. So this node basically displays the surface of the UV sphere as per the wave texture applied to the material. Now before moving forward, we'll save this material in the material library. So first of all, I'll bring down the scale value in the wave texture to around 8 or 9, then click here to rename the material, and let's change its name to wave displacement. And to save this material, go to the scene collection, select the material in the UV sphere, then right click and select mark as a set. And by doing this, the material will now get saved in the material library that we created in the chapter number 1. You can even check it by changing this window to the asset browser. And now over here, we have the wave displacement material saved in this library. Apart from this, if you want to download this particular Blender file with all the materials saved that we have been creating in this course, then you can join the Patreon, whose link is added in the description. And finally, let's also understand about the practical usage of the wave texture node in the retro gaming arcade scene that we started creating in the chapter number 1. So I've opened this file with the arcade scene, where in the previous chapter, we created the silver material with the displacement effect that we used to add some detailing. And in this chapter, we'll be using the wave texture node on this material that we have used for the body of the machine. So for this, with this machine selected, let's go to the material properties and select the material that we applied on the machine body. Now to add the wave texture node, go to the shader editor, press shift plus A, then go to texture and select the wave texture. Let's place it over here, and right now, if I connect the factor socket to the color ramp node, then in this case, we'll have the wave texture applied to all these machines with the colors depending upon the pointers in the color ramp. But instead of doing this, I'll press Ctrl plus Z to undo, and we'll be using the displacement node to create a 3D effect and add some detailing to this material. So go to the shader editor, press shift plus A, go to vector, and select displacement. Let's place it over here. Now take the displacement socket and connect it to the displacement in the material output. Then I'll take either the color or the factor socket and we'll connect one of them to the height socket in the displacement. And by doing this, you will notice this band-like pattern appearing on the material applied on the machine's body. In fact, to see the material in a better way, I'll select one of the machines and press the forward slash button to keep the focus only on the selected object. And now you can see the effect of the wave texture and the displacement node on the material of this machine. You can clearly see that it is creating this up and down pattern, which is clearly visible over here and also on this top face, and all this is because of the displacement node that we have used in the material, because it is displacing the surface of the material according to the wave texture. Apart from this, you can change the scale value of the wave texture to change the scaling. Then you can add some distortion to create a zigzag type of pattern, or maybe add some detailing to it, but I won't be making much changes in the texture because right now I think that the texture which is applied on this machine is looking highly detailed and realistic. So for now, I'll press the forward slash button to remove the focus from the selected object. And finally, this is how all the machines are looking with this new material applied to their bodies. And also, this brings us to the end of this chapter. In this chapter, we learned about the wave texture node and its practical usage in this arcade scene. And also, if you want to download this Blender file containing the complete retro gaming arcade scene, then you can join the Patreon, whose link is added in the description. And so our next chapter will be the chapter number 19, Sky Texture in Blender. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel, press that notification bell so that you can get timely updates about the upcoming chapters. Thank you for watching and we'll see you in the next one.